They say truth is stranger than fiction, but some truths are darker than anything the mind can imagine. From a haunted hotel in the mountains of Baguio to a frozen lake hiding deadly secrets in Canada, and an elevator that opens to somewhere no one should ever go. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and don't forget to look behind you. And remember, when the witching hour begins, there's no turning back. This story is from Baguio, Philippines. In 2009, a journalism student named Arvin Reyes went missing while filming a documentary in Baguio's Diplomat Hotel, a long-abandoned building notorious for its ghost stories. His final footage was only discovered 2 years later in a pawned video camera. The recovered tape shows Arvin entering the hotel alone at dusk. He interviews local residents, documents the decaying chapel, and records unsettling sounds, chanting in the background and what he thinks is wind whispering in Ilocano. But the true horror begins when he enters the basement, an area locals warned him to avoid. In the footage, his voice becomes nervous. The chanting grows louder. Shadows move on their own. A blood-like substance starts dripping from the ceiling, but when Arvin looks up, there's no source. His final words in the video are whispered. They're behind the wall. They never left. Then the camera cuts to static. Authorities searched the site thoroughly, but his body was never found. Paranormal groups claim the footage shows something moving in the background frame by frame. Tall, black figures cloaked in smoke. Some say if you visit Diplomat Hotel at 3 a.m. and say his name 3 times, you'll hear a faint voice repeating, "They're behind the wall, still here." Brave soul, but it only gets darker from here. This story is from Ontario, Canada. In the winter of 2017, married couple Ben and Lara Michaels rented a lakeside cabin in Ontario for a writing retreat. It was secluded, peaceful, and surrounded by snow-covered pines, perfect for Ben, who was recovering from a breakdown. But from the first night, they heard strange sounds, wet footsteps on the porch, whispering by the window, and a scratching sound that came from beneath the floorboards. Lara dismissed it as stress, but Ben began sleepwalking, writing cryptic phrases in his journal. "I hear them in the lake, and she's in the walls." He started building a snowman every night, with his eyes closed, muttering about watchers in the trees. One night, Lara woke up to find Ben gone. She followed fresh tracks out to the frozen lake, where he stood barefoot, staring into a hole he'd carved in the ice. Before she could stop him, he whispered, "She's calling me. She's been under there since the thaw." And he jumped in. Divers recovered Ben's frozen body, but the mystery deepened when they found 6 other skeletons under the lake, all children, all with their mouths open as if screaming. And the house, it was demolished after a local psychic claimed it was built on a site where 19th century settlers drowned their own children during a famine to avoid feeding them. The psychic said she heard them crying, "It's so cold down here. Please, we're still waiting. Don't look away. You'll want to hear this next one." This last story is from Shinjuku, Tokyo, Japan. In 2015, a Korean exchange student named Mi-yeon moved to Tokyo to study animation. She rented a small apartment in Shinjuku. Everything seemed fine, except her floor, the 23rd, had a malfunctioning elevator that often skipped floors or opened to pitch-black corridors that didn't match the building's layout. One night, after a late class, the elevator opened to an entirely unfamiliar hallway. The lights buzzed dimly overhead, and the door closed behind her before she could react. She tried all the doors, locked. Then, a woman in white appeared at the far end, twitching and dragging something behind her. Mi-yeon ran and slammed the elevator button. As the door opened, she turned back, only to see dozens of identical women in white crawling toward her. She escaped to her apartment, locked the door, and never used the elevator again. But the terror continued. Every night, her TV would turn on at exactly 2:23 a.m. to static. Her phone camera captured distorted images with multiple reflections of herself. And finally, she received a package with no return address. It contained an old elevator button labeled 23B and a VHS tape with no label. She played it. The tape showed her sleeping in her apartment, except the footage was from inside the closet. Terrified, she left the apartment that night and never returned. But the building's janitor told local papers that the elevator was sealed in 1996 after a student died on the 23rd floor. Her body was never recovered because there was no 23rd floor in the original plans.